Peace be with you, everyone. Welcome to my channel. My name is Trevor. Really grateful to have you here today, and today's video is going to be the top 10 favorite fragrances in my collection. So I have about 300 bottles, mostly cheapies, but nonetheless this was very difficult to narrow down my 10 favorite in my entire collection, especially because some of these are newer additions, so I felt a little bit constricted about putting them on this list because I haven't given them as much time as some of the other fragrances in my collection in terms of wearing to really justify them being on this list. But in general, the wearings that I have had with those have been so enjoyable and the scent profiles have been so astounding that I decided to place them here. So without further ado, I'm just going to get right into the list. Number 10 on the list, Bleu de Chanel. So it's undeniable how versatile, how amazing, how just idealistic this scent profile is. It literally defined the blue genre. So you get that nice citrusy shower gel kind of vibe. But when I think of cologne, this is the smell that came to mind before I ever even smelt this. It just like confirmed a stereotype about scent that I didn't even know that I had really. I'm sure that many of you have smelled this one, but it is without a doubt, I think, deserving of a spot in my top 10 just because it is so perfect, so versatile, so yeah, incredible. Of course, Chanel quality, really amazing in terms of them sort of defining a genre. It's a shame that they haven't really been giving any attention to men's fragrances for a long time, but this is the Eau de Toilette. I haven't tried the EDP or the Parfum. I'm sure I would enjoy those more so even than this one, but this one definitely had to make the list. Bleu de Chanel, Eau de Toilette. Number 9 on the list is my preferred signature scent. So if you had to think of a scent that typified me as a person, or at least the one that I associate with my own self, and what I would wear if I had to really throw out the entire rest of my collection, in some sense, there's like 3 fragrances on this list that I would consider signature scents, and this is one that I would put in the cheapies category. It's the only cheapie on this list, but that is Lalique Hommage à l'Homme. So this is like tribute to a man is what that translates to, and what you get here is like a really beautiful candied, jammy style violet fragrance, like oud, black pepper, violet are going to be some of the fragrance notes in here. The violet gives off like a really velvety texture, so this is nice dressed up sort of fragrance, but you can get away with it as a casual style fragrance as well. I've done a full review on this one. I do have a backup bottle. Unfortunately, I believe it is getting discontinued, and you can only find it in the gift sets with the shower gel anymore. The 50 ml and the 100 ml bottles standalone are neither available on the official Lalique website or at any discounters currently, but yeah, beautiful fragrance, just easy dumb reach. Obviously I've put quite a dent in it, just almost half the bottle gone now. And Lalique always has really high quality fragrances. This one just had such a unique scent profile that I had to include it in this list. I've never really smelled anything else like this, and like I said, it's one of my signature scents. So Lalique Hommage à l'Homme in the number 9 spot. Number 8 spot is going to be Tom Ford's Beau de Jour. So a little bit of a dent in there. I've been kind of reserving this for more dressed up occasions, special events. It's not as mass appealing, which is why it's not further up the list, but the scent profile is something so addictive to my nose. Like I said, I think it's a little bit old school, so it's not very mass appealing, but that aside, it's just something that I personally love and adore. Beautiful, sweet lavender, hyper aromatic, very dense, very loud and beast mode-ish, at least off of my skin. Just incredible, incredible juice in here. Definitely more like it gives you that barbershop feel with the lavender and the aromatic touches. And then it's just super classy, super smooth, super creamy. Just like the creamiest lavender that I've ever smelled. I was somewhat anticipating Dior Sauvage Elixir to smell a little bit like this when I first got it, although that because this has such a sweet, creamy lavender, but Elixir has a lot more going on in terms of spices and like depth and darkness, but Tom Ford's Beau de Jour is going to be my 8th favorite fragrance in my collection. Number 7 spot is going to be Cartier Declaration Parfum. So if you're familiar with the original Cartier Declaration, this carries that DNA with it, but it makes it incredibly more dense and rich and heavy on cardamom. I'm actually going to spray this in the air real quick just to get another waft of it because I'm such a fan of yeah, nice, beautiful spices. There is a little bit of an animalic touch because of the spices that are in here, so in some sense it's not as mass appealing. Most of these on this list aren't necessarily mass appealing, but they tickle my fancy incredibly well, which is why this is my top 10 list. But yeah, definitely this is, I think, a masterpiece fragrance and worth checking out. I think you can still find it for like under $100. Beautiful juice color, just classy looking, elegant bottle. Underrated house, Cartier. But yeah, that's going to be my number 7 Cartier Declaration Parfum. Alright, number 6 on this list is going to be one in which the entire line of these fragrances is incredible. So I'd recommend them all. This is my newest addition from the line, but it has grown to be my favorite because of its versatility and its balance between freshness, sweetness, smokiness, spiciness, and that is L'Homme Idéal L'Intense. So Thierry Wasser, in-house perfumer at Guerlain, incredible job that he's done on this entire line. Basically a almond-based fragrance. You get a nice creamy almond that defines the entirety of this line, but this one has some chili pepper in the top that gives it a really unique quality to it that helps it stand alone as a cold weather fragrance, but then there's a really fresh quality to this, I think, from the rose in here. That makes this incredibly versatile, and this is going to be one of my signature scents for the designer price range, whereas this I would consider a signature scent of mine from the cheapy price range. But yeah, just the rose and spice in here really balances out the creamy aspect of the almond and makes this just an incredible, incredible fragrance. My favorite from the line currently, Guerlain L'Homme Idéal L'Intense. Okay, so we're moving into the top 5 here. Number 5, recent addition to my collection, had a little bit of adverse first reaction, but as I've worn it, it's just become so incredibly pleasurable to put on. Fresh, but dark and sweet and spicy. Again, somewhat similar to this one where it just covers so many bases, and that is Dior Sauvage Elixir. I have sampled the Eau de Toilette. I haven't tried any of the other from the Sauvage line. You somewhat get that base level Sauvage in this, but there's so much more going on, so much more depth. Strong lavender, but then there's also like a certain like sweetness coming off the cinnamon that's not exactly sweet. It's like that spicy sweetness where you like when you taste cinnamon, you're expecting sweetness to cover your palate, but it turns into this like bitter quality. In some sense, that's what I get off of this. Incredible sillage as well. Like I can catch wafts of this all over the place when I'm wearing it, and it's slowly becoming one of my most complimented fragrances. It's probably the only fragrance where I've gotten 2 compliments in the same day that I've worn it on multiple occasions. So, you know, definitely a little bit more expensive because of the concentration of the oils in here being an elixir concentration, but incredible fragrance, definitely worth checking out. My number 5, Dior Sauvage Elixir. Alright, number 4 spot. Another recent addition to my collection, but this has been the most enjoyable wear out of all my fragrances. I mean, that aside, it's not my number 1 just because the actual scent profile and a few notes that I particularly love aren't present in here, but this would be my niche signature scent if I could afford to make this a signature scent. It's just incredibly versatile, easy to wear in warm weather and cold weather, especially because it has the most prominent transition from top, mid to bottom out of any of my fragrances, which is why the experience of wearing it is so pleasurable and why it's in this top 10. Even though it's a newer edition and I've only had a chance to wear it about 4 times, the experience has been above anything else I even have in my collection, and that is Creed's Royal Oud. a cedar-based fragrance, but you get a really nice bright opening with some beautiful citrus and pink pepper, and then it dries down into a sweet powdery sandalwood. So you just get like citrusy summertime vibes with the pepper, pink pepper and lemon in the top, and then you get a green sort of spring and fall experience in the mid with some I think Artemisia, cedar, and Angelica in the mid, and then finally it dries down into a nice sort of woody, sweet powdery woodiness with sandalwood as the dominant player, and then some oud and I think musk also. But yeah, just incredible fragrance. I don't know if it's, I think it's probably worth what I paid for, which was like a little over 300, like 330. But I don't think it's quite worth the $600 retail price that it's going for now. I think it's getting discontinued, so maybe try to sample it if you can before it disappears. But my number 4 is Creed Royal Oud. Okay, top 3. This is another Tom Ford. It is it's so unique of a fragrance, and also I've gotten a lot of compliments on this one. It's an incredibly enjoyable wear. This is my favorite from the 2 of the ombre leathers. This is the Parfum version. I think simply because Iris is my favorite scent that I've ever smelled. Just the smell of Iris is something that I adore more than anything. And you get a little bit of that in this in the dry down. There's that sweet powdery aspect, and then the leather in here is just so realistic, and the smell of leather is probably my second favorite smell behind Iris. And you just get both of that in here, especially there's a violet note in here that gives it a little bit of that velvety, silky texture. But yeah, Tom Ford's Ombre Leather Parfum, incredible fragrance, my number 3 most favorite in my collection. Okay, so moving on to the top 2. Getting back to the point of Iris being my favorite fragrance note. Unfortunately, this is discontinued. I am a little sad that they would have gotten rid of this. It's just so beautiful. Definitely just something that I love to reach for. I don't have a backup bottle currently, but I think I'm going to fork over the $130 or so that it's going for at the moment to try and get another one, but that is Prada L'Homme Intense. So you get the beautiful Prada soapy vibe in here, but then it's darkened up. It's got some leather. It's a little bit more masculine and you know, playful and dark than the Office style fragrance that you get with the original and the Low. Yeah, just super sweet Iris, and then you get somewhat of the powdery touches, but there's leather in here that kind of like changes the texture a bit and makes it a little bit more full-bodied, I guess you could say. But those who know this is just an incredible fragrance. That's why it made my number 2. Definitely on the lookout for a backup bottle for myself. And then, perhaps no surprise to many, this is touted as many people's favorite fragrance in terms of scent profile at the very least. And again, Iris being my favorite scent, this is going to be Dior Homme Parfum. Yeah, like again, if you know, you know, just it's so intoxicating. You get a little bit of like a chocolatey vibe to it, so it's like this beautiful iris powdery sensation with a little bit of that lipsticky texture going on, but then it's shrouded in this cloud of like cacao powder. And I think there might be some oud in here that gives it a nice woody texture as well, that hyper masculinizes it. I think some people are saying that this is discontinued. I thought it was only available for access in Europe, or easily accessible in Europe, and just difficult to find in the US. But if it is, try to find a sample at least, just to get your nose on this one time. I believe this is also Sebastian, the perfume guy's favorite fragrance, and that's saying something, because I think he has like thousands and thousands of fragrances and has smelled like everything that there is available to smell for the most part. But yeah, and you're getting a quality creation from Dior. Just beautiful. I can't get enough of it. I really wish that I had more bottles of it. I don't know if I'm going to find a backup bottle of this, just because it will take me a while to burn through it. It is a bit of a special occasion fragrance for me, and it's not the easiest one to find the situation to wear this for. But yeah, Dior Homme Parfum, my favorite fragrance in my 300 plus bottle collection. Okay, thank you for sticking with me to the end of this video. These are my top 10 in my collection. Let me know if you've tried any of these and what some of your favorites in your collection are. And I'll see you in the next one. Take care.